Hello. Okay, now I need to share. Okay, then we're off. All right. And so I'm starting with the last slide first. That's good. All right. So anyways, welcome today. We do have majority is C-suite members, but we also do have some guests with us today. And so we welcome them on this Thursday before Mother's Day weekend. So whether you're a mother of a cat or mother of children or dog or any other pet, we welcome you, or aunt or grandma, etc. As you know, our mission is to foster executive level relationships for women across all industries to develop brand acceleration and expand career growth. And we actually are national but global. We do have global members, and we just launched the Austin chapter last week, which was lovely down at Q2. Had over 34 plus women. Great event. So we thank the Austin chapter. Getting ready to launch the Salt Lake City chapter here, soft launch May, and then launch in June. So thank you all for continuing to support C-Suite and all the great work that you and we do for all of our peers. We are made up of C-level executive women, co-CEOs, founders, women who write checks, board level executives, and emerging leaders as well. We're always committed to diversity, equity, inclusion, and executive inclusion at all levels. We can't do this without our sponsors, so thank you to our sponsors, and then also to our philanthropic partners that give back so much to the world. And Carolyn's on, who is C-level for Bloom Again. So we appreciate everything you guys do for the community. And so with that today, we are very blessed. Emily's been a member of C-Suite for 3 or 4 years. She also sits on the Chicago C-Suite committee. And she recently did, so go out to C-Suite Talks. It'll be out there soon. I think it's in the next week. She did an interview with Diane and I all about C-Suite. It was at Samantha's prodding, and why we are and where we are, so that Samantha could share that back with her ERG group at LinkedIn. And so that'll be out there in the world on C-Suite Talks. But today, we met Samantha via Emily, and we discussed with them coming on and really showcasing LinkedIn and how to maximize your portfolio and personal branding. And they each represent different areas of LinkedIn. And so with that, I'm going to stop sharing and let Samantha take over and introduce herself and her background.
Amazing. Good morning, everybody. I'm Samantha Goldstein. I am coming to you from Chicago. I have been at LinkedIn for 5 years in August, and I was working in our global onboarding division for a while, and now I work supporting our sellers and LinkedIn Sales Solutions. That's one of our three product lines at LinkedIn: LinkedIn Sales Solution, LinkedIn Talent Solutions, and LinkedIn Marketing Solutions. So happy to go into more detail on all those fun things later. But I'm passionate about the platform itself as an opportunity to grow your network, showcase your skills, and just generally build your own brand. So I'm excited to be here with you today. And on the fun side, I have a toddler. She's 16 months old and desperately trying to learn how to walk. And I love live music and baking. So that's me. And I'll turn it over to my friend Emily, who's co-presenting with me today. Emily, over to you.
Thank you, Sam. Hello, everyone. My name is Emily Grosh, and as Beth mentioned, I've been part of C-Suite for a while now, and I've been at LinkedIn for almost 4 years. I am part of our LinkedIn Marketing Solutions group. I'm a creative solutions consultant. And what that means is that I work with our customers who are running marketing on LinkedIn or other types of communications on LinkedIn to improve their strategies. As part of that work, I do have the opportunity to work with a number of C-suite executive level, as well as exec comms teams to help to improve the presence of executives on LinkedIn. I also am the Chicago social impact lead, and we host quite a few coaching sessions that focus on making the most of LinkedIn. So I feel like today's session really fits right in the sweet spot of the types of work I do in my day job as well as a volunteer with social impact. And I'm thrilled to be teaming up with Sam today to bring you this content, this interactive discussion that we will have.
Thank you, Emily, so much, so much. And then Diane is on as well this morning. She's co-CEO C-Suite, and welcome to you. So why don't we just do quick round the room introductions, just your name and what you do really quick so that we can get to the meat. So Diane, you want to lead through that because you're
Sure.
very good at that?
Sure. Thank you, Beth. And thank you so much, Emily and Samantha, for being here. So I'm Diane Gubin, co-CEO along with Beth. I'm also an investment banker. I work on capital raises and M&A work. One thing that Beth didn't mention, I'll just throw it out there too. We have launched the C-Suite Marketplace, and we are looking for to showcase our C-suite women and let everybody know about your products or services or the work that you're doing. So if that's of interest to you, do let us know. We also are refocused on our executive search division. So if you're hiring for your team, please, consider working with us. And with that, let's go around the room. So Miriam, Fiona, and Sandy.
Hi everyone, this is Mariam Tervani. I'm based in LA. I work with API Sec, which is the company is headquartered is in the Bay Area. Regarding the application security, and I'm the only female at the company. So that's what Beth always says. It's just like I'm the only female at the company, and I'm so happy to be here and meeting you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Miriam. Okay, Fiona, you're up. Then Sandy, then Becky.
Hey, lovely to meet you all. I'm Fiona McLeod Henschel and I work for Laura Devine Immigration. We are a British immigration firm, but with offices in London and New York, and we support companies and individuals with US immigration from anywhere or UK immigration from anywhere. And I work on the partnership side, business development events. And yeah, really pleased to be here today and to learn more on how we can all be leveraging LinkedIn. Oh, and just to add about Laura Devine Immigration, Laura is our founder and a woman. So yes, great to be with other women in this network. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fiona. Appreciate that. And Fiona's in New York. Sandy, you're up, and then Becky, then Patricia.
Good morning, everybody. Sandy Pelland from New Jersey, New York City, right across the river. My company is Mom Life TV. I'm the CEO founder, and we do women's lifestyle content for moms for every life stage of parenting with an emphasis on video content. And I'm also in the Producers Guild of America, the PGA, and I'm a judge for the Webby Awards.
Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate that. Becky and then Patricia.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Becky Chang here from Los Angeles, California. I have experience in working for a congressional member, a state, California state legislature, and now moving to the private sector. And now I'm on my own. I started a PR firm of my own earlier this year. So looking forward to connect with all the other ladies out there. Thanks so much.
Oh, terrific. Thank you, Becky. You're perfect for the marketplace. Okay.
Thanks.
Patricia, Sandra, and then Nancy.
Hi, I'm Trisha Remical. I go by Trisha. I'm actually a fairly new member of C-Suite. I learned about it through Nancy Schmeezy. Thank you, Nancy. I am a fractional chief AI officer, fractional CTO at this point. I'm also a board member of an angel investing group called Citrine Angels, which is all women, and we only invest in women-owned businesses. So that's sort of a passion of mine. I'm located in Reston, Virginia, and I'm excited to be here and network with these other ladies.
Thank you so much for that, Trisha. And then now Sandra, Nancy, and Tina.
So sorry, Sandy. I go by Sandy as well. So when Diane said that, I did not mean to speak over you, but hi, Sandra Clark. I do go by Sandy. I'm located for the moment in the East Bay of San Francisco. I had left my corporate job a little over a year ago and I've been doing advising and board work. I've decided to go back into a corporate role in Hawaii, and I will be starting that soon and moving over to the islands. But anyway, right now here and just happy to be part of the conversation.
Oh my
And
gosh.
Sandy, you can start us a chapter.
Yeah, we don't have a Hawaii chapter. So
We would love that.
anybody want to go to Hawaii with
Summit in Hawaii.
Sandy?
I'm currently in Hawaii.
Oh, Ashley, thank you for saying that. So that's a quorum right there. Okay. Nancy, you're up. Nancy, Tina, Carolyn.
Hi, I'm Nancy Schmeezy. Sorry, my camera isn't on. I'm having a technical difficulty.
Okay, thank you, Nancy.
I'm based in the Shenandoah Valley outside of Washington, D.C. I am the co-lead for the D.C. Metro chapter of C-Suite and also involved with a number of other organizations. I am a technology executive who also is a yoga teacher. So that's kind of my fun fact. I'm a yoga teacher and I love that, but I am still heavily involved in technology and philanthropic initiatives.
Thank you, Nancy, and thank you so much for the work you're doing. Tina, Carolyn, and JJ.
Hi, I'm Tina LaMonica. I lost my voice, so sorry about that. I'm Executive Vice President at NAI Capital, and we're commercial real estate brokers in Los Angeles.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Carolyn?
Hi, everyone. My name is Carolyn Sims. I'm the co-president of Bloom Again Foundation. We help women when they have a medical emergency by paying their rent and their utilities to keep them whole and in their home so they can take time to heal. Also, in Los Angeles, been a part of C-Suite for several years now and just glad to be here. And I am an avid LinkedIn user. So I'm really excited about this. And I also led a session as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Carolyn. Appreciate you. JJ, Joy, and then I'm not sure who's on their iPhone, Sarah and Ashley. So Carolyn, JJ.
JJ said she's in commute in the chat and put her bio in.
Okay. All right. So JJ, thank you. Apologies, I didn't see that. Joy, you're up, and then I'm not sure who's on their iPhone.
Joy is also commuting, it sounds like. So,
okay.
and her bio or her info is in the chat as well.
Oh, great. Thank you. I'm not watching the chat, so I appreciate that. Okay. Who's on their iPhone?
Good morning. This is Carol Eastman. I'm in transit as well. So thanks, ladies, for putting this together. I'm excited.
Thank you, Carol. Drive safe, everybody. Sarah?
Hi, I will, I don't know if you guys can see me. There you go. I'm Sarah Yousafzai. Sorry, I'm gonna probably be off camera most of the time, but I have some commotion at my place. But I'm in New York City, and I have been in marketing, communications, and brand for enterprise technology, and more recently in healthcare. And on the side, I've actually just invested in my, I think, fourth Tony-nominated show on Broadway. So that's just something that I just turned into a passion and just found somebody I trust who I could invest through. So that's, if you want to know anything about Broadway or off-Broadway shows, I'm your gal.
Oh my gosh, Sarah, hidden fact there. Thank you so much. And Ashley, you're up, and then we're going to turn this over to Smith and Emily. Ashley? Oh, you're on mute.
Good morning. My name is Ashley. I am COO of Kilauea Pest Control. We service a couple of islands in the Hawaiian Island chain. So we also have a company out in California as well. I'm excited to be here. I'm going to be on mute. I have a board meeting I have to walk into, but I really wanted to listen in on you guys and just learn. I'm new to the C-suite.
Thank you, Ashley. We would love to have you, and really do think about a chapter. It would be awesome.
Yes, and come visit me.
It's not hard. I've been to the islands many times.
Yes, come visit again. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and Smith and Emily.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to get our slides up, and while I do that, Just a huge thank you to all of you who are, making the time this morning, especially on your commutes. Really appreciate that you're able to join us while in transit. That's commitment. So thanks again. Today we are going to be talking all about how to maximize your profile on LinkedIn, how to think about creating content on LinkedIn, and also how to network, ultimately bringing together all of these pieces of LinkedIn to help you create more effective personal branding on our platform. So we've done our introductions, so I'm going to actually toss over to Sam to take us away.
All right, so this is our agenda for today. We're hoping to keep it pretty conversational. We're going to go through a little bit about why LinkedIn. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the platform, but a bit more about what makes it so unique in the ecosystem of social media. Then we're going to dive into you. So how to tell your story, boost your visibility, grow your network, and do a little Q&A at the end. Because there's two of us, I think Emily and I, we can monitor the chats. And as things come up, we can either take the question in the moment or save it to the end. But feel free to chime in and let us know what's most interesting to you and if you have questions. And with that, we're going to do a little bit of a poll, actually. We want to meet you where you are in this conversation. So we are curious. We have a question for you here. When did you last update your profile? That means, or post content or engage with somebody else's content on LinkedIn. And you can use the corresponding Zoom reaction or just drop it in the chat and tell us, was it in the last week? It's been about a month. It's been a while or never. I am brand new to LinkedIn. All right, I'm seeing some hand claps, a lot of hand claps. Okay, within the last week is pretty poppin'. I'm seeing some honest answers too in the chat that's like, I haven't really been on there recently. That is okay. Okay, I update my profile often. Joy, we love to see it. Okay, this week Carolyn was in there. Fiona was in there this morning. Okay, this is really, really helpful information for Emily and I. And the good news is that none of you, even the people who haven't been in there too much, are doing LinkedIn wrong. The goal of this is hopefully for you to feel motivated after our conversation to get in there and use it to serve your own interests and needs. So we're not going to tell you go here, do that, but more of like, here's a bounty of options. You pick what gets you to your individual goal. So thanks for sharing. And let's dive into a little bit more about what makes LinkedIn unique. Emily, I'm tossing it back to you.
Thank you. All right. So one of the things that truly makes LinkedIn stand out from other social media platforms is that we really are a trusted, brand safe platform. We take our member privacy very, very seriously, and we are a space where people feel comfortable to share knowledge with one another. LinkedIn is the world's largest professional network. So I love LinkedIn. I've been here for almost 4 years, but I think it's pretty exciting that you have this kind of network at your fingertips on your phone or, online that you can tap into. Also, we're a trusted brand. We have an 84% customer loyalty score that we're very proud of. And we're brand safe. 86% of comments from members on content on LinkedIn are positive or neutral. Sometimes we do have some of those negative comments sneak in, but in general, it is a very positive place for people to share knowledge, to share expertise. And I like to underscore that, especially for executives who maybe are just getting comfortable with the idea of posting on LinkedIn, just knowing that it's not a place where you're going to be attacked like some social platforms can be. And it's helpful to understand too that part of the reason I think that our platform is a trusted and safe space is the whole reason that people tend to come to LinkedIn is to better themselves. People say that after they spend time on LinkedIn, they leave feeling informed, connected, purposeful, and they typically come to LinkedIn to learn and grow, to find ways to improve their career or keep up on the latest news in their industry and to learn from other experts. So that'll give you a little bit of grounding in LinkedIn. And I'm going to pass it back to Sam to talk about how you can participate on this platform.
So I love that we kicked off today with everybody doing a quick round of introductions because you're already starting to tell us your story. So what I think is really cool about the LinkedIn platform is that we're all about credibility. That's actually like a personal value of mine. And so this idea of your LinkedIn profile of being a source of credibility and owning your story from the get-go. And so that's, I think, the powerful thing about owning your profile, keeping it up to date, maintaining it as your career evolves, as your life evolves. That is a place where you are starting to own your own narrative and own that story about your career and how you show up in the rooms that you're in. So a couple of just like high level things to know. There are a couple different components of the profile. We're going to dig into each one of them, but a few key features are your summary, which you can use to highlight both professional interests and also personal interests. We also like to say, what would your author bio say at the back of a book or on the book jacket? How would you describe yourself to somebody who doesn't know the first thing about you to help them want to keep reading the book of your life? We also recommend including relevant experience and interests, including things outside of work. People often ask me, do I have to include everything on my LinkedIn profile I've ever done? And the answer is no. I did a stint at the J.C. Penney jewelry counter back in 2010. That is not on my LinkedIn profile. And that's maybe one day if I want to get back into retail, I'll add it. But for right now, it's not part of my career story. So you get to choose the experience you highlight. And then finally, we have a couple of options on our profile pages for you to feature interesting and engaging content. So if you've done a cool project, you have a great interview or a podcast you want to highlight, there's ways for you to basically pull content up to the front of your profile and start to control that narrative in the first view, which is what you'll see in the screenshot here on the right. So that's the overview and the pitch of like why your LinkedIn profile is so important. From there, you get into some of the nitty-gritty components of a profile. So things like your headline. This is appearing in search results, so it's one of the first things that people see when they visit your LinkedIn profile. So you want it to communicate what you do or who you are as a professional. And it will default to your current job title if you haven't updated it, but we really recommend that you go in there and tweak it to reflect more of who you are as a professional. So if you go to Emily's profile or my profile, I think you'll see, and I think Beth and Diane's too, you'll see that they've actually modified it and customized it to include a little bit more about them. My headline right now, it includes my work at LinkedIn, the fact that I lead our women at ERG here in Chicago, and that I'm known in our organization as like a bit of like a systems thinker and dot connector. So it's a cool place to tweak and tell a more vivid story than just I am this title at this company. The other component I want to dive into that people tend to have a lot of questions about is the about section. So this is the best place for you to flesh out your professional story and brand. We recommend adding a summary of at least 40 words that makes your profile more likely to show up in a future employer search. People approach this in all different ways, and I'm happy to like brainstorm with all of you on like how you approach your about section. What we like to say is you think of it as like an elevator pitch. So you're communicating who you are, what you're passionate about, and what you want to achieve. If you really want to get specific, you can front load it. So your top sentence is like the most important part of what you want to highlight across those three things. But you can also use the space to highlight your top accomplishments, your interests outside of work, your volunteer work, or if you got something unusual in your work history, not unusual, I should say something that, I don't know, you want to explain more about. Let's say you veered off into the jewelry counter at J.C. Penney and you want to explain how that ties back to the work that you do. Or you took a career break. We actually have features that'll allow you to put that into your profile, but you can also explain, hey, I stopped out of the workforce for a bit to take care of a relative, or just to raise my kids. Whatever it looks like, you can also tell more of that story in your about section. I tend to revisit mine about every 6 months. Some people do it more or less, but it's just, again, a friendly, professional place for you to start that story and tell it for folks who are on your profile. I'm going to pause here. Any questions so far about just like the overall profile, the header section, or the about section? Those are very juicy parts of the profile. I'm not seeing any in the chat yet.
What do you think about pictures?
Oh,
What you should put in back of you? I always get stuck on that.
I think that's a great question. So, what we say is you want it to be well lit. You want it to look like you today, not you 10 years ago or how you wish you look. So, don't use a ton of AI filters on you. We recommend that it's just you. So, if you have like a group pic where you look really cute, maybe don't use that or like black out everybody else and just have you like front and center. We generally recommend there are like lots of like AI headshots. You can definitely experiment with those. I would say that like we typically favor, and Emily, maybe you have more insight into this too, like just real human shots. This is actually a picture of our CMO, Jessica Jensen. This is what she really looks like. So I would say, recent, friendly, approachable, well lit. Emily, anything to add to that?
The only other thing I would add, and sorry, Sam, if you're going to get to this, but that cover image in the back,
Yeah.
Too, is just a great place to, if you have your own business, it's a great place to display the branding of your company. It's also a great place to show an image that reinforces your skill set or who you are as a professional. Here with Jessica Jensen, that we use as an example, she's using LinkedIn's tagline because she's our head of marketing. So that makes a lot of sense. But there are also opportunities to turn that into a slideshow even. So if you want to use multiple images, for example, to tell your company story or to tell a little bit more of your professional story, that's a great space to do that as well.
And then the question that I have, how's the header? So just should we just use one, like, couple of things that we do, or just like we can go like, 2, 3 lines, what we're doing? So that's another question that I have.
I think that this is where it gets interesting. And like Emily, I don't know what your point of view is on it, but like a lot of people talk about the algorithm, right? And I think part of this is let's take the algorithm out of it for a second. So just like in terms of just thinking about human to human, what you're using LinkedIn for. So if you're using LinkedIn to look for a job, that might change up how your headline is versus like you want to be perceived as a leader in your field versus I don't know, you're a new mom and that's really important to you and you want to highlight it in your header. So I think like a lot of what you put in there is going to depend on what your goal is. Those terms are getting prioritized in like a search function. So if a recruiter's looking or people are like searching their network for founders of a certain kind of company, that will help prioritize your profile higher to have that in your description. But there isn't like a right and wrong. I think it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Emily, would you add anything to that or change what I said?
No, that was all great. I guess the only thing I would add is I do caution against putting too many descriptors in because I really subscribe to the rule of three. So I try to keep it to three key descriptors that I want people to see and get a sense for, okay, that's who she is as a professional, or that's what she does, versus getting too long there in the character count. Because at some point people will see a lot of words in the headline and tune out.
Thank you.
Sure. And actually, Sam, I'm seeing a question from Sarah in the chat as well about the length of the summary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to speak to that?
So I would say again, I kind of erred to Emily's point on like the rule of three. So I might have three short paragraphs in mind that's kind of like who I am, what I bring to the table, and what I'm looking for. And like maybe each one of those three is like 2 to 3 sentences. You can write a novel in there if you want to, but like people might not read it. It doesn't privilege your profile in any certain way to like have a lot of content there. So I would say that like a couple of options. One is um, putting some of the detail you might include in your about section, but back down and tying it to your specific experience might be a good idea instead of having a really long about section. And then also, I'm gonna be honest with you. I have a link out to like, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, but I have a link out to my personal website. So I also want people to go see me also just like beyond the platform. Maybe you want them to click in and go visit your company website. And so there's other places for you to also talk about yourself that you don't have to like dump everything into your LinkedIn profile. So I would say be judicious and think about that storytelling framework. If you want to add a lot there, you can. It won't hurt you, but it doesn't help you necessarily either. Emily, what do you think? What's your point of view?
Yeah, I think that's all great direction, Sam. And then I would also just point out that when someone initially comes to your profile page, that about section will be truncated. And I believe it happens at about 150 characters. So, Sam, you mentioned earlier about kind of front loading the most important piece of information, and that's a great recommendation because if somebody doesn't expand to read the whole about section, they can get that quick snippet, the most important thing that you want them to see right up front. And Becky, you have your hand up.
Yeah, thanks, ladies. You mentioned about banner. So are we still, I know we're still talking about the about section. You also mentioned banner earlier, Emily. Are we talking about the part, the example we're seeing, the network that works for you? That's the
Yes.
banner you're referring to?
Yes,
And we
that's
can
right.
customize that?
You can, yes.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Sure.
Great questions. All right, let's keep going and keep the questions coming. These are so thoughtful. I'm gonna actually glaze over the next section a little, or the next slide a little bit, but I wanted to just like mention, one of the core components of LinkedIn is beyond the about section and your headline and your picture is like you're starting to add your job and volunteer experience. So starting with your most recent experience and working your way back, writing about responsibilities and achievements, I would say that I tend to err on the side of achievements. I always am encouraging folks I work with to like brag about yourself. Tell me not just like I showed up and sold 30 rings today. It's like I showed up and I generated $40 million in revenue today. So I think like using this as a moment in time to brag a little bit, it doesn't have to feel like your resume. It can be a little bit more personable. I think of the resume as a bit more of like a formal document. In your profile, you can add a little bit of flavor here to your story and what you want to highlight. So, description of role and accomplishments, relevant industry terms that'll help you show up in search, and then also highlighting your promotions and career progressions in the profile. So, keeping it fresh is also super important. And then actually one thing before I move on to, this little pop-up is showing you the opportunity to add a career break. So in addition to your job or volunteer experience, if you did take a career break, that is a relatively new feature on LinkedIn. You can also just say like, I stepped away for a little bit for whatever reason it might be. And then also include things like education, certifications, or licensure. Um, I include my education, but I don't include my graduation dates anymore. I've graduated from graduation dates. So you can decide how much or little you want to include on your profile. I also include on there that I have my PMP. I used to have it up in my name, and now I've just dropped it down into my certification sections. But this is also a way for folks to find you and for you to grow your network. That is a really common one, is like searching for your undergrad institution or searching for organizations like C-Suite. Now you can connect with each other and find each other on the platform as well. So make sure to build out that section too. It's just as important as your work experience. And then finally, skills. This is like the most skilled group I've ever been in. Y'all have amazing things to add. So you can actually choose to tie skills to specific career experiences, or you can also just overall say like I'm skilled in X, Y, and Z. We recommend including a mix of human and technical skills. And then also don't include aspirational skills. Include the ones you really have and that you want to highlight and showcase for employers as well. And those again will help you when recruiters are doing searches or when people are saying, hey, I want to find somebody who's really experienced in newsletters. Pow. someone like you will show up on their search results. So there's some features about the profile. I'm going to turn it back over to Emily and talk a bit about how you boost your visibility. Once you've done all these things, now it's visibility time. And Emily, over to you. I see some questions in the chat. I'll go ahead and answer them while you're giving your spiel.
Great. Thank you, Sam. I was just going to wanted to touch on one thing related to skills, related back to Joy's question really quickly. When you are actively job searching, it's a great idea to take a close look at the job descriptions that you're really excited about and identify the skills that they're looking for, and then go back and make sure that if you have those skills, that they are included in your skills on your profile. Because LinkedIn's system is going to use those skills and those job descriptions to help you find, to surface some of those great job opportunities that are a good fit based on your profile. So always a good idea to go back and think, oh yeah, I have this skill, I should add that. Because sometimes we might not think of a skill in certain terms until we see it written down. So just one other tip. Okay, so yes, we're going to talk now about boosting your visibility by becoming a content creator on LinkedIn. So it sounds like some of you are already creating content. It looks like we have kind of different levels of usage of the platform at this point, but just want to get a better sense of this. And Sam, if you can help me out, because I cannot actually see everybody. Oh, let me go back. My PowerPoint's going wild. If you can help me get a sense for what we're seeing come in here, but we'd love to know, do you create or post content from your LinkedIn profile or from your company page, and kind of how frequently? So do you post at least once a month, occasionally? No, but maybe you engage with other people's content, or maybe you've never posted content on LinkedIn at all.
All right, I'm seeing I post occasionally. I never have. Don't be embarrassed, Becky. It's totally okay. It's a little scary to post. It's okay. I get nervous too. Some folks are posting weekly, 3 times a week, every other week. We've got a pretty wide range here. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. That's really helpful to know. Love to see some of you power users on here posting multiple times a week. Oh my gosh, so they have 2 LinkedIns. Okay, oh my gosh. All right. And then we have some folks who haven't been posting at all, and that's totally fine. We're going to meet you where you are. So one of the greatest ways to grow your brand and grow visibility of your brand, whether we're talking about your personal brand and or your company's brand, is through sharing your expertise on LinkedIn. And we really do think of LinkedIn as this knowledge marketplace where experts share information to other professionals who then have the opportunity to comment back and engage and also share their expertise. So really, number one idea of posting is to post engaging content that is within your area of expertise. So LinkedIn has a number of different algorithms. People always want to know about the algorithm, but there are many working and they change over time. But one of the things that the algorithm will do when you post content is it will actually look and evaluate the content against your profile. So if you're posting about a topic that's not presented anywhere in your experience, that doesn't match up with your profile, then it's going to deprioritize your content. So we always want to make sure that, going back to that idea Sam was talking about, the credibility really starts with our profile and having that complete profile, because that's going to help our content perform better as well. We have a lot of different formats, different ways for you to share content on LinkedIn. And I just encourage you, if you're not a regular poster, to kind of get in there and experiment with some of the different formats. You can publish really short posts that don't have to have a whole lot of, pre-planning. Doesn't have to be a long article. It doesn't always have to be a photo or a video post. Sometimes it can just be, I had this thought and I think that it would be relevant to other people, so let me share this. And you can get a sense for some of those brief, quick posts in these couple of examples. If you are a regular poster, but you haven't yet delved into creating long form content on LinkedIn, this is a great area of opportunity. So one of the things that's really exciting for us at LinkedIn is that a great deal of our content that our members are posting or that company pages are posting is surfacing when people are searching now on, ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot. So if you are interested in getting your brand surfaced even off of the LinkedIn platform, long form articles and newsletters are the most cited LinkedIn content type from those LLMs, from the ChatGPTs, from the Gemini. So if someone is searching for, a company that does what you do, you might want to post a long form article about your company or about a key topic that is relevant to your industry to help you surface not just on LinkedIn, but off of LinkedIn as well. For a very long time, it's been all about let's do video, let's do image, and those are still so important. But we're seeing that these longer form textual, heavy text formats are actually really important now with the rise of ChatGPT and other LLMs. And by the way, a newsletter on LinkedIn is just a series of articles that, have a same theme, and they offer kind of a consistency for people to expect that content to come from you. And I see that there's a lot going on in the chat. Sam, any questions I should be addressing or?
I got you. Just a couple of folks who are jumping into some meetings and are going to catch the recording, and I've been answering questions in here. You're good.
Thank you. All right, we'll keep on going.
Actually, if you want to ask a question, is an article just a long post or something different?
So it's a different format. So when you go into, start typing your content, there'll be different formats that you can choose in that box, and an article is one of those formats. So a long post is not technically an article, but long posts are also getting surfaced by those GPTs as well. I did want to mention, I didn't say this, if you do want to be surfaced outside of LinkedIn, you do have to make sure that your audience is set to anyone. Otherwise, those GPTs cannot scrape the content. It has to be public facing. Now, the benefit of using images and video in your post is that it helps to grab people's attention when they're scrolling on LinkedIn. Sometimes we see, I was actually just working with an executive yesterday, and he just does a lot of sharing a link post, which is what you see in the example on the left here, where they paste in the link, it auto-populates this little tiny image and the title of the article that the post is driving to. A better way to drive people traffic to an article is actually use a single image post or even a video post if you have a video asset. So taking maybe an image from that landing page, as you see in the example on the right, it's more engaging, more colorful. People may be more likely to stop and look at that content because that photo is quite a bit more attention grabbing than what you see in the example on the left. For those of you who spend quite a bit of time on LinkedIn, you probably have noticed that over the past year and a half, 2 years, LinkedIn has become very video focused. Video is the hottest format for executives on LinkedIn. I know that video is it can be a barrier for a lot of folks. I personally have not yet overcome that fear of posting a video of myself speaking on LinkedIn. But many executives are having a lot of success with this format. It really works. Oh, go ahead. Was there a question?
find out how to do it. We tried to do our podcast on LinkedIn
Mhm.
and we couldn't get it to where it would automatically kick off. When we kicked off our podcast, there were a lot of technical issues, so we gave up. And
Okay.
is there somebody or somewhere we can talk to about that? Because I know a lot of people have them out there.
Yeah, so you can absolutely reach out to support if you're having a challenge with something like a live event, a live podcast, and work on any tech issues that you might be having. But you also can take content that you've recorded beforehand and upload that as a video to your post, which is what a lot of executives are doing. So this is an example here from Candace Nelson, who started Sprinkles Cupcakes. And, she's just talking to the camera. It feels very authentic. It's just shot on a phone, very lo-fi, low budget. This is the type of content that's really resonating with people because it feels really authentic. You get to see that person, hopefully in an authentic sort of atmosphere. We do see a lot of execs doing walk-in talks where they're talking on their phone about a particular topic. You get to hear them, see their expressions. So these tend to work really well to kind of drive that credibility and that trust with your audience.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Emily.
Mhm.
Because I think it would be good to do the one we did with you about C-suite out there. So I took a note on that to talk to Melissa and Kate about that. Okay.
That sounds great. And do reach out if you're still having some technical issues with that, and we can troubleshoot that.
Okay. And part of it's that we all have only this amount of time to deal with.
Yeah, of course, I get it. If you are creating sort of these really authentic sort of, let me tell you a little bit about, this product or this experience I had. There are some recommendations for creating a really successful video. It's always important to have a good hook right at the beginning, to have a call to action in your video. We see that videos up to 2 minutes long can perform really well when they're coming from an individual. We always say to make it vertical because the majority, it's over 80% of video consumed on LinkedIn is consumed on mobile, and the vast majority is also consumed sound off. So we want to make sure to have captions if we are using video. I did just want to touch on thought leader ads. This will be, I think, mostly relevant to those of you who are promoting your own business. You can put paid marketing dollars behind your content. So if you posted in an article or a video or a photo, and it's including really important key messages for your brand, and you want to try to get that in front of particular audiences, you can boost that content and define exactly which audiences you want it to reach. So that's another opportunity to ensure that your content's getting in front of the audiences that you really want to see it. And finally, but still very important, is ensuring that dialogue, participating, commenting on other people's content, and certainly commenting back to folks who provide meaningful comments on your content, that is really part of the whole value of LinkedIn and helps to bring new connections in through your content, can help you expand your network by engaging in dialogue. So if you're following a thought leader who's an important expert in your industry, and you start commenting on that person's content, it's a great way to kind of start opening the doors with that person, and then potentially expanding your network there. Also, when you comment on other people's content, it expands the reach of that content, but also your comment will show up in your followers' feeds. So it helps you to get more visibility as well. All right, so I know, Sam, you've been very active in the chat responding to questions, but I also know I covered a lot of content. So before we talk a little bit about networking, I just want to see if there are any outstanding questions on content posting on LinkedIn.
So Sarah has a couple questions about premium membership and open to work. And I actually don't think it's going to get covered later in our presentation this year. Emily, do you mind if we talk about it right now?
Go for it.
Okay, so the first question is, so LinkedIn has free service, and then they also have a premium membership that you can sign up for. For premium members that are interested in new opportunities, do recruiters see qualified premium members first when they're doing the search? Emily, do you have an answer? I think they do.
That I'm not sure about.
We can double check, Sarah. That's a good question. My understanding is that earlier in the chat, I mentioned that if you're looking for enough, I'm going to head and mute Fiona. Fiona, sorry, we can hear you. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So if you are searching for a job, a couple of things beyond keeping your profile fresh that are going to help are one, being visible, so connecting with and interacting with people who are in the field that you're interested in moving into or who you're already in, interacting with their content, following the company pages of companies that you're interested in and engaging with that. What that does is that on the back end, it's kind of like indicators of interest. So if you have college age kids and some colleges do this where if you like request a brochure and you go to a campus tour, it gives you points and ding ding dings you up in visibility. Premium membership does something similar to that, where basically on the back end you're flagged up earlier in the search results. And then also your engagement with like relevant content is also other signals that you are potentially like a high priority candidate. We will verify that and get back to you, but that's my understanding of the feature as of like fairly recently. And then the other question Sarah asked is about the open to work banner. So there's two different settings for open to work. One is public, everybody can see it. The other one is for recruiters only. There are rumors that go around LinkedIn where like turning on that banner signals that you're desperate or it actually dings you on the back end. I would say holistically, um, maybe there are some people that judge that banner or that like see it and are like, ew. But largely speaking, what we've been finding is that turning on that banner is generally perceived as like a positive signal of intent. So I would say, turning it on will like indicate to recruiters that you are interested. There are certain systems in place where if you're turning it on to recruiters only to make sure recruiters in your own company can't see it. We can't guarantee 1,000% that they won't be able to somehow, but like we have certain firewalls up to make sure that your current employer doesn't see that function. But if you are looking for a job, I would encourage you to turn it on. The worst that can happen is like nothing, but like I think that it's actually a really valuable feature and it is a signal. The other thing I'll recommend is that the more up to date that you keep your profile and relevant, that feeds into jobs that you'll see in your job tab. It'll feed the information you're seeing in your feed. So if you're looking for a job and you're seeing this weird stuff happening in your jobs tab, or like the feed is completely disconnected from your interest, I would encourage you to go back to your profile and maybe ask a friend, does my profile match up with what I'm actually interested in or what I've actually been doing? Because that is the engine that is feeding other prioritization mechanisms happening. So if something feels off, check your profile, have a friend look at it, have me or Emily look at it, and I'm happy to do it. But that's another tip about visibility for recruiters. So again, if your profile isn't optimized to what you're applying for, your premium profile might pop up. You might be engaging with the employer, but you might not be number one on the list because your profile is mismatching. So that's a long answer to a very thoughtful question, Sarah. It's a good one.
All right. So
awesome.
Still with you, Sam.
Awesome. So let's talk about growing your network because I think that's a really cool feature of C-Suite, and clearly all of you are passionate about it as well. So in addition to owning your own narrative, you're also owning your network on LinkedIn. So a couple of you have actually already favored or added me on the platform, and I'm like, yes, I want to grow my network and be connected to you. What I really love is I actually follow a lot of folks who are experts in enablement. That's what I do. I'm fairly new to this field. I want to learn more. So I'm always, in addition to finding my friends from real life or from school or from work. I'm looking for thought leaders and experts in my field and then engaging with their content. For anybody who's really interested in like enablement nerdy stuff, Samantha McKenna is one of my favorite follows on there. And I've actually met her in real life. And she and I like, got a picture together because I followed her on the platform and commented on her stuff. So just like engaging with their posts and leaving insightful comments grows your network and helps you, I think, develop your skills and your brand visibility as well. So that's one tip right here is to engage networks. And you can also search for new connections. So there was a point in time where I really thought I wanted to be a librarian. And I was like, you know what? I should talk to some actual librarians before I like blow up my career and just like go back to library school. So I actually searched for new connections on LinkedIn of librarians in Chicago, and I actually reached out to them using InMail and was like, "Would you be open to having like a coffee chat with me? I'll buy you a coffee. I want to pick your brain about working in a library." So the search tool is really amazing. You can search by name, company, location, keyword. Secondary connections are more likely to, respond or be open to connecting with you. You can ask for warm introductions from a mutual friend. But just, yeah, I use it. You should use it to grow your networks and your organizations as well. And then finally, in terms of growing your network, we also, I mentioned this earlier, but like I have my own website. Um, you can add a custom button on your profile. I believe this is only open to premium members. We can double check that and get back to all of you. But this is actually if you were Beth or Diane, you wanted to add a custom button on your profile to drive people to C-suite, you can actually do that up there in your header. Visit your store, website, portfolio, blog, my newsletter, all these things. So that is another option. And you can actually see on the back end, like when you're on your own site, where the referral came from. You can see like this came from LinkedIn and know that it's referring traffic over to your site. So another mechanism to just have people connect with you beyond your profile as well. And I have to unfortunately drop right now, but Emily's going to wrap us up. And at the end of this deck, we're going to have a little way for you to stay in touch with us. So it's been a pleasure spending time with you this morning. And thank you. And I hope to connect with all of you on the platform. And Emily, I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Thank
Thanks
you,
so much,
Samantha,
Sam.
very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Sam.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of content today, a lot of different topics that should help you to build up your presence on LinkedIn. And we want to leave you with a sense for what you can do next. What are the steps you can take to take from wherever you are at this point in time to continue building and amplify and refine your personal brand on LinkedIn. So I would love if you wouldn't mind sharing in the chat, based on what we've kind of talked through today, where do you think that you are today? Do you think you're in the crawl phase, or you're just a lot of this was kind of new ideas for you, or in the walk phase where you're posting and you're starting to develop some consistency with how you use LinkedIn? Or do you think that you're already running? You are leading in thought leadership, you are engaging in dialogue on a regular basis. So just taking a look through run, walk, crawling now, wants to walk, run. Fantastic. Okay. So again, we have the spectrum here, but for wherever you are, we have some recommendations for you. And you'll have this content afterward as well that you can reference back to. But crawling is all about establishing that presence. So we talked through today how to have a complete profile, and that is truly the place to start. Even if you are a regular content poster on LinkedIn, just making sure that you've given your profile some love recently as well. In terms of networking, just making sure that you're spending some time connecting with or following relevant colleagues, companies, peers, publications to keep your network fresh. And react to comments or posts from people that you respect. And then finally, in terms of content, if you're really at that crawl phase, even just starting with resharing content that other people are posting, but adding your point of view, it can feel a little less intimidating than feeling like, oh, I've got to start something from scratch. because you don't have to do that to have a meaningful voice in the dialogue that's going on. Walking, so developing consistency here. In terms of your network, this would involve, carving out some space to reach out to 1 to 2 connections per week to keep your network warm. This one is, I find, to be really tough to do, to try to make that time. But when we find ourselves in a position of maybe needing to find something new, if we've taken the time to keep our network warm while we've been gainfully employed, we'll be in a much better spot to reach out to people and to utilize that network when we really need it. And especially too, if we're thinking about maybe launching something of our own, or maybe we already have our own business, making sure that we're keeping those connections warm so that, again, we can use our network, use connections to introduce us to other potential customers, is going to be important. Walk phase networking and content, adding those meaningful comments. So more than just reacting to content, now we are really digesting other people's content and adding an insight of our own in the comments. Content, resharing content, but also adding our personal perspective at least once a week. So that was from Crawl, but then also on top of that, doing our own posting. So starting to experiment with some different posting formats and starting to get comfortable with what is our focus or our niche. So this usually sits at a balance of our experience and what we are experts in and what really interests us and we're passionate about. And also, what do we think our target audience would like us to post about? For those of you who are already running, when we think about running, I would encourage you to, ask yourself, is networking, is that part of my running? Is that part of my building that presence and that network? Am I spending time reaching out to people? Am I messaging them? Am I arranging coffee chats? Also, am I dialoguing? So I might be posting at a regular clip. Maybe I'm even posting a couple of times a week, and that is awesome. Kudos to those of you who are making the time to do that. But are you also including those comments back and that engaging with other content and other experts as well? I'd call some of our formats more advanced, and those would be the ones that require more planning or more time. So video, as I mentioned, I'm not at the video level myself, and I've only occasionally written some long form articles. But if you're already feeling really comfortable with quick posts and video posts, challenge yourself to try some of those additional formats because it can help diversify your audience and expand your reach. And then here's where we might think about optimizing as well. It's making sure that we are actually taking a look at who is our audience. So LinkedIn does provide you with some demographic information about who's following you. You can take a look at the types of content that seem to perform really well and make that part of your content plan to post more of that type of content. So now we're really starting to think more strategically about our content and how we're posting versus just trying to make sure that we're maintaining a presence. The very last thing from Sam and I, thank you again for spending the time with us in your morning, on your commutes. And we would love to have your feedback. So if you wouldn't mind taking a moment using the QR code to go to our feedback survey, should take about a minute to complete. And again, we'll share the content as well. So you'll have this QR code if you'd like to fill that out later. But I'm going to stop talking now. And I know we've addressed some questions, but we have time left for open Q&A. And I'm happy to take any other questions that you might have.
Thank you as always, Emily. Emily actually was on a panel with other CMOs when we did an event in Chicago, and she did a lovely job with us. So thank you very much for that.
Thanks, Beth.
So yeah, let's open it up. Anybody have any questions for her?
I do have a question.
Okay, go for it.
Would you guys be able to offer a discount for folks participating today to be a premium member of LinkedIn?
Great question. I can look into that. Let me check into that and see if there's anything we can do.
We appreciate that. Thank you.
I had a quick question. It seems that now everybody is using AI for everything, including the LinkedIn profiles. And obviously, if you don't have your own personal touch, it's really going to come through. But what do you think is the best use of AI when it comes to LinkedIn?
Ooh, that's a great question. So honestly, one of the great AI tools that we have built in, and this I believe is also a premium feature, but is our interview assistant, where you can use the AI to interview you. To be honest, you can probably simulate a sort of interview experience on other GPTs as well. But I do recommend doing that if you are preparing for interviews, just to help with any maybe gotcha types of questions that you might not expect. But I think that's really helpful. But I also think two ways that I use AI when I think about content is AI can help with thought starters. So I would never want AI's voice to be stronger than my voice in anything I post, but it can help get the juices flowing. And I'm terrible at creating like a pithy headline. So if I need to create, something punchy, I will look to ChatGPT. And again, it tends to be more of an idea starter. I'll usually revise what it offers me, but it's really helpful for something that, that part of it I'm not as comfortable with.
Yeah, thanks. And the one great tip was the using your LinkedIn header. I just never really think about what to do with that space, but it did spark some ideas in terms of just promoting companies, my company, and everything else. So thank you.
Yeah, sure. One other tip I'll give you regarding the headers, on Canva, they have the LinkedIn banner sizes. So you could go in there and start a project and say, I want to create a LinkedIn banner, if you are looking to create some new assets for that space.
Great, thank you.
I have a question. What do you think about the boosting of the post?
Yes. So content boosting can be a really great way to ensure that your content is getting in front of the right audience. There's two ways to think about boosting. You can boost because you want to expand to a broader audience. So great if you're trying to drive brand awareness, but also you can get really niche with who you boost that content to. So, I don't know. I work with a lot of tech companies. So maybe your target buyer is, a marketer who wants to purchase a specific type of technology for their business. And so you are looking for a very specific years of experience and job titles. If that's who you want to make sure that your post is getting in front of because you've just announced some great new feature of your product, then you can get specific and boost to just that audience.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Diane, I think you've had your hand up for a minute there.
Yes, and it was such insights. I wanted to actually ask you about the premiums because I have Sales Navigator. I don't even know if that's the right place for me to have. And with Sales Navigator, I can't even get into it because it wants this multi-factor authentication, which I don't want to do. And the reason I don't want to do it is I have an assistant who is on a different time zone. And she's the one who does all my posting and stuff for me. So if I've got that multi-factor, it means, the middle of the night stuff. So how do I get rid of that? Or Sales Navigator, not even the right premium? And if you do get rid of a premium, what does it mean for the rest of what your LinkedIn is doing?
Okay, so a few questions packed in there, Diane.
Thank you.
So regarding Sales Navigator, So Sam will be a better resource for you. I do not touch that area of the business, but she can connect you with somebody regarding specific Sales Nav questions. And for anybody else that is in our feedback survey, if Sales Navigator is a product that's interesting to you that you'd like to learn more about, Sam can get you connected with somebody. And then as far as, so Sales Navigator is just a separate product that LinkedIn offers, and Premium is a separate product. So they won't impact each other, like if you didn't use one and you use the other. However, there are ways to think about using, marketing and Sales Navigator in conjunction with one another to really boost your impact on LinkedIn. But again, I'm not the right person to speak to Sales Navigator specifically.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Then I'm not clear on what premium is then.
So premium is something that an individual member purchases that unlocks additional features on LinkedIn for you as an individual. It unlocks LinkedIn Learning courses. It unlocks a number of our AI job search capabilities. And it also will unlock the number of people that you can message in a month. So there are just a number of additional features that you can get when you subscribe to Premium.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Sarah, I see your hand up there.
Yeah, thank you. Something interesting happened like a couple of months ago, and I just put a pin on it, and it's probably good to surface it here. So I was contacted about a role through, through in LinkedIn email, which is great. And fairly, I would think, early career person, or at least somebody who, would not be necessarily even a decision maker. But she was, going through my profile. And I think maybe some of you also have this, like where to put stuff, which is why I asked about C-suite. So I've been on a nonprofit board for a while. I've done other like advisory boards and things like that. And I had my board service in my job experience versus volunteering because I just feel like that has a different gravitas. So I'd love just to understand the nuances of where to put these things that are really important to us. I wouldn't be in those roles if I weren't a leader, right? And yet, if you put them in volunteering, I just feel like that just gives it a different sheen. And I know this is really subtle, but I wouldn't want, I'm sure other women on this call may wonder. So
yes, that's a great question. So thank you for that. I absolutely would recommend putting your board positions in your job experience rather than volunteering. There is, regarding C-suite, there is a separate segment that you can add when you're editing your profile that's called organizations. And that's where you can add C-suite. If you're not sure, you can go to my profile and see where that is. And then volunteering experience would be something separate. If it's a volunteer role that is really meaningful to you and you want to highlight it as part of your experience, and you think that it's important for, if you had recruiters looking for you and you would want them to see that, I would go ahead and put that in your experience as well. So for example, I have my day job as a marketing consultant, but then I'm also leading Chicago's social impact for LinkedIn, which is fully volunteer. But that's something that I want people to know. I've put that in my header on my profile, and I have also added that to my present experience on LinkedIn versus putting that in volunteering.
Cool. Thank you.
Sure.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions? Okay, just so you know, we did record the session. I'll stop recording now. And so for our members,